The sky was suddenly torn apart, the wind and rain were like a million horses galloping, and the pedestrians in the streets were running away in fear. But as I stood by the window, I felt a strange excitement. In his critique of judgment, Kant discussed the mechanical sublime, when hurricanes and thunderstorms instantly break down the barriers of our daily experience with overwhelming force. The cognitive system is suddenly unbalanced, and fear splashes up like cold water. However, when reason awakens after a brief moment of panic, one suddenly realizes that in the face of nature's ferocious power, the I is still as stable and unshakable as a rock. This fear and cognitive disequilibrium are quietly transformed into a deep pleasure of self-affirmation, like gazing at a tsunami from a solid embankment, both shocked by the magnificence of nature's greatness and proud of the safe fortress we have built for ourselves. Existential philosophy adds a deeper dimension to this ecstasy. Heidegger pointed out that human beings are often trapped in a state of sinking, obscured from the true nature of existence by the trivialities of daily life. And when the wind like an invisible hand lifts the roof of the shelter, rainstorms like a flood of familiar streets, we will be from the numbness of the sinking in the suddenly torn out. Albert Camus once wrote, "In the middle of winter, I finally realized that I had an invincible summer in me." This fierce wind and rain is another kind of winter. The curtain of daily order is forcibly torn open, and we suddenly realize that the wind is blowing from the other side of the earth, and the rain is coming from the depths of the clouds. We are literally standing on top of the earth, existing in the universe, not just huddled in a man-made concrete jungle. At this point, a strange sense of connection is awakened. It is as if we are being washed down by a rainstorm, and for the first time we really feel our identity as beings who have been thrown into the world, and we have touched the root of our connection with all things again. Jung also once said, "Man is not an island, each of us is a piece of the continent." The fury of the storm is just like the raging sea that connects the island to the continent. The storm itself is not the source of excitement. The real tremor lies in the fact that it roughly rips away the perfect facade of everyday order. People are often like numb animals in an urban forest, hurrying and thinking, as if they are governed by invisible gears. The sudden rainstorm cuts off all the program chains. We are forced to stop, look up, get out of the numbness of the routine, and regain our sense of the world. Once, I saw a middle-aged man in a suit stop in the pouring rain at a subway station, look up at the gray sky, and smile with childlike curiosity on his face. At that moment, he might have glimpsed his forgotten self through the cracks of order. The storm was like a sudden and grand awakening ceremony between heaven and earth. It does not only bring the sublime pleasure of the rebirth of reason after the collapse of cognition in Kant's book, but also, as Heidegger reveals, is an opportunity to pull us out of our daily sinking. When the curtain of order is torn through the cracks, the wind wrapped in sand grains whistles in through the cracks, blowing away the numbness and awakening the existence. This is not an obsession with the violence of nature, but rather the soul glimpses through the cracks at the moment of the shattering of order the vastness of its own nature connected to all things, and the wind with its grains of sand is the very breath of life breathing in the universe again.